Good afternoon, people. Watchwoman 65, Lisa Boyce here. I'm coming on because this story is very significant. I have two stories to do today, and these are out of Israel. First of all, Erdan, he is the public security minister, Gilad Erdan. He's considering declaring a state of emergency for Israel. This just came out about an hour ago. It says here, wait a minute, let me get this straight. It says here, he is considering declaring a national emergency for Israel on Sunday. Speaking at an opening of a new fire station in Jerusalem, Erdan said that he had spoken to police about the need to help enforce quarantines to help prevent the spread of the coronavirus. He said he's considering the need to declare a national emergency, which would give officials wider power, he said. We are living in challenging times, but the coronavirus and the long-standing and complex political situation. But Israeli citizens know that even in times like these, there are those whose jobs have always been and always will be to keep their lives safe and secure. This is something that is not dependent on government or politics. Erdogan also spoke about the decision he made to no longer allow Palestinians to visit prisoners because of the coronavirus is spreading in the Palestinian Authority, Palestine location. Cessation of visits to prisons is a necessity, Erdogan said. The coronavirus arrivals in prisons could result in mass inflation of inmates and guards, and we must do our utmost to prevent such a scenario from materializing. Over the weekend, New York's state governor declared a state of emergency, which allows a state to take special control of funds and resources. On March 5th, the state of Maryland announced and declared a state of emergency. So, although Prime Minister Netanyahu has declared the coronavirus the worst pandemic in 100 years, Israel has yet to declare a state of emergency. If they're considering it, 9 times out of 10, they will. Now, I want to go on here too and talk about, this is another article that I got from, I got this from Brother Keegan. He sent me this early this morning, and I appreciate this. This is interesting. It says that Netanyahu is losing elections because he denied prayer on the Temple Mount. And this is given by a rabbi. It says that as Israel's longest-serving Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu is a political survivor who rarely missteps, but one such error in judgment may lead to him being replaced in the near future. As last week's third round of elections approached, it became clear that every mandate was crucial to form a majority coalition. It seemed clear that French right-wing Asma Yehudit was not going to pass the minimum threshold to earn a seat in the Knesset, but their votes could earn Likud another vital 2 seats. With that in mind, Netanyahu tried to persuade Asma's leader to drop out of the race in January, offering him various incentives he thought would be tempting, including the coveted ambassadorship. Less than 1 week before Israelis headed to the ballot box, Ben-Gvir held a press conference revealing the condition that would persuade him to drop out of the race and put his power behind Netanyahu. Most prominent among the conditions was the removal of the authority on the Temple Mount, thereby paving the way for a Jewish return to their holiest site. Netanyahu refused, and Likud went on to win 36 seats. Their rival, Blue and White, won 33. And as expected, Asma did not pass the threshold, winning a mere 20,000 votes. But those votes, if applied to another right-wing party or to Likud, would have enhanced Netanyahu's ability to form a right-wing coalition. It now seems doubtful that this will happen, and Benny Gantz is maneuvering to snatch victory away from Netanyahu. While not admitting defeat, Netanyahu admitted that his rejection of Ben-Gvir's offer hurt the party at a meeting with the heads of the right-wing parties on Saturday night. He said that if Ben-Gvir had dropped out, that would have contributed to an even greater victory, Netanyahu said. But Netanyahu revealed that the Temple Mount condition was indeed the deal breaker that led him to reject this offer. But he had one condition: that I would permit Jewish prayer on the Temple Mount. And this may sound logical to you, but I know that this would have ignited the Middle East and brought down the anger of 1 billion Muslims on us. And there are things I'm not willing to do in order to win the elections. I will continue to protect Israel. There is no end to cynicism of Blue and White. Would you allow Israel's government to be dependent on a joint Arab list? They always justify that by saying that they will disqualify me. I'm not going anywhere. That's what he said. Netanyahu, and this was the thing, Netanyahu refused to accept even one of the conditions that Ben-Gvir set forth. He wouldn't allow Jewish prayer on the Temple Mount or even call for an end to racism against Jews at the site. He wouldn't open the Temple Mount to Jews on Shabbat. I told him that we could forget about that. I asked him to stop paying protection money to Hamas. He refused. Now, I don't know what to say about this. I'm going to link this article and the other article in the description box. But it says, and this has been Ben-Gvir talking. He said, I suggested that Netanyahu come out of the statement against the Palestinian state. And he said that he refused to do that too. The people of Israel were commanded by the God of Israel to sacrifice the Passover lamb on the appointed time according to the Torah, and on the very site designated to do so according to our traditions, wrote Rabbi Steen, secretary of the Sanhedrin. This is the most important mitzvah, commandment, renewing not only the connection between the Jewish people and the God of Abraham, but also renewing the connection between God and all humanity. Performing the Passover sacrifice enables all of mankind to be able to choose freedom. Each man in his own right to go out from any form of slavery. The essence of freedom is to choose to obey the Creator. You see why there has to be a rapture? Because they're still stuck in the law and they don't recognize Jesus as the Messiah and follow where his will requires. And once again, I had said before, God's will, and it took me 28 years to realize this, God's will is that we believe in the finished work of Jesus Christ and what he accomplished at the cross. Jesus Christ is the Passover lamb. He was slain on the cross for our sins and rose again on the third day for our sins. They don't recognize that. That's why there has to be a rapture of the church, those true believers who believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. in order for the Lord to deal with these people, Israel. I'm going to leave this article in the description box. Basically, he's saying here that Netanyahu turned his back on the Temple Mount, knowing that it would be his downfall. This is all set up. This is so beautifully aligned for the rapture that it's just beautiful. Everything is set up right now. Nothing has to fall in place. Everything is already in place right now. This is it. And he said the same will be true of Donald Trump. His ability to resist all of the forces that have come up against him is to continue to pave the way for the third temple. I'm going to let you read this, and by all means make comments. But this is the reason, like I said, there has to be the rapture of the church has to take place. Because these people will not recognize Jesus as the Messiah. So God's going to have to deal with him. But he don't need us in the way. So continue to look up. Because your Redeemer is coming. Sooner than what we think. I'll be back on later. Thank you.